But we really haven't seen this trouble, except, as I mentioned, with Dario Franchitti had that gearbox problem in Homestead, but that seemed to be slightly different. He was actually running around the track at that point. It wasn't actually coming out of the pits he had the trouble. So it does seem very strange indeed, and of course what the teams will be very aware of is, as we mentioned earlier on, as you look at those guys still running at the moment, they've got another 500 miler to deal with at the end of the year, and the championship could well be sorted at that final race. I mean, the way the points table's been going just recently, the way it's been so close between the likes of Tracy, Zanardi, Andretti, Moore, De Ferran and indeed Pruitt, the championship really is very likely to be settled in that last race, and if it comes down to being settled by a bunch of gearbox failures, that of course would be very dissatisfying for everybody involved.
No question about that. So there will be
what happened? Well, that's right.
Scott Pruitt.
I'm not sure. You know, the car was running great. We were just staying out of trouble. I wasn't pushing it. I was running around there in 6th gear, not taking any chances, and I got down into I got down into 1, and then going through 2, all of a sudden the nose just washed out, and I mean, I was clear out of the throttle trying to save the car, and just went up to the fence.
Tough break. You begin to think that maybe you only get one 500-mile win and that's it?
Unfortunately, and it's tough for the whole team. I mean, the Brahma guys did a super job. Car ran strong, and like I said, we were just waiting to the end. I mean, not taking any chances, so I'm just disappointed.
Now, we think we figured out what the problem is with the gearboxes. Did you have any problems in terms of speed shifting?
No, I don't typically speed shift anyway when it comes to ovals. I'm typically really easy on the gearbox and everything, so no, our car was running strong, no problem at all.
Wasn't the gearbox, guys, but it was the concrete.
It certainly was. It was the concrete that claimed Scott Pruitt, but as you could hear, he's astonished, having not run that hard as he thought, but still it claimed another victim. So here we go, we just got a lap to go until they go green flag racing once again, and I should imagine those top 5 cars, Zanardi, Blundell, Tracy, De Ferran and Herta, all are taking things a little bit carefully at the moment. They want the cars to last, that's the main thing. We're just taking a look at the finish of this race a couple of years ago. Jeremy, you were here. This was quite a battle, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a fantastic race. Alonso Jr. took the lead going down the back straightaway on the last lap, and Scott Pruitt passing around the outside of turns 3 and 4, coming up to the checkered flag. Is a fantastic finish.
Well, we're back to it now, and you're looking at Alex Zanardi, who is leading this race, and Walter Sales, that is, that's running with him at the moment.
Yeah, got a good jump to nip ahead of him there going into the corner, but Alex Zanardi able to redress the balance going into the corner. Now will pull away down the back straightaway, and there is Mark Blundell in 3rd place in line there, the lap car of Hiro Matsushita, and also Mauricio Guzmin. There is Brian Herder, who is also a lap down after that long pit stop. Paul Tracy flying around the outside of 2 slower cars there. He is running in 4th place behind Gilles de Ferran.
So Tracy still pushing hard. De Ferran then in 5th place, and then Brian Herter.
Yeah, actually, Tracy was able to get past Gilles de Ferran. Gilles de Ferran boxed in behind another couple of slower cars. There's Michel Jourdain Jr., who's actually running in 6th place. He's off the pace now as well.
Yeah, he's slowing down for some reason. We couldn't see why that was, and see exactly where he is, but he's slowing down. Zanardi leads, Blundell 2nd. Tracy now into 3rd place and going chasing after Mark Blundell. In fact, yes, because Herter is a lap down. Just what actually happened to Brian Herter? Why is he a lap down? I sort of lost
that long pit stop. He had that problem with getting the car going back into gear after that pit stop. But there he goes inside Mark Blundell there. Brian Herter going very quickly indeed. Mark Blundell looking to hold on around the outside line there. Blundell, of course, there is Paul Tracy, the back of those 3 cars. Brian Herter tucks into the middle, and Brian Herter is a lap down, but he does want to try and regain that lap and get back on 2 turns with these leading cars. But you can see that Paul Tracy is quick. He lets Paul Tracy the outside line. They're going into turns 3 and 4. Tracy trying to make the pass stick as he comes off that 4th turn.
Oh, it's close stuff, isn't it? As Paul Tracy now just edges ahead, uses his Mercedes-Benz power to try and draw ahead. Herter's still on that inside line, but doesn't quite make it ahead of Paul Tracy. So Tracy goes through cleanly. Herter a lap down, but still battling hard. He wants to be part of this lead group that's going to settle this race victory. If they count on keeping out of the wall, keeping the cars running all the way through to the flag, then we've got quite a battle set up between Zanardi, Blundell, Tracy, De Ferran and possibly Herter if he gets a break. If there's a suitable yellow, or if he gets a chance to get back onto the lead lap, he could still be in this one.
Hürter's always run well. He's had some very sensible runs here in the past. The last 3 races here, he's been up inside the top 3 or 4. I think he's only had 1 finish. So one time he was involved in an accident. The car crashed in front of him, and a wheel fell off. That was actually Danny Sullivan's car. Wheel fell off, and it slammed into the side of Hürter's car. That was a very frightening accident indeed. Hürter got away with that one. He didn't finish the race, but he was unscathed at least. And then last year he had an engine blow up as well. But he does run strongly here, and that pit stop, of course, put him out of contention really for the win, it seems, at this stage. But he's still running strong. There he is in 5th place, 1 lap down, but running at the same sort of pace as the leaders.
Let's just remind you.
I mean, just a little note. There goes Michel Jourdain Jr. He made a pit stop there, was able to get the car running again, back out into the fray. He's lost several laps. He's actually fallen down to 11th place. Cost him 4 laps, that did, but still running pretty strongly, Jourdain Jr.
So there you can see the other positions. The other cars still running, and some of the slower guys still running fairly reliably at the moment. They could get some good points here today. Tracy then charges on around in 3rd place. Just looking it down to that list, actually, Jeremy, interesting to see some of the names who have got a good chance of scoring points. Look at Fangio in 6th position. He's 4 laps down with a Toyota engine. So far, so good on that car. And of course, if he managed to finish in 6th, that would be Toyota's best result in the program so far.
Yeah, and he's actually been running pretty tidily, running very conservatively perhaps, but not too far off the pace at all. He was only a couple of laps off the pace after maybe halfway through the race. He's lost another couple of laps since then, but he's still running pretty well. And also the 2 Arciero Wells car of Papis and Matsushita, they're 1 lap behind Fangio, actually 2 laps I think behind Fangio. They are 6 laps off the pace in 9th and 10th positions. So they're all running fairly well, I'd say, this afternoon. Good effort by that team.
There is Jourdain back in. Yes, you said he'd gone back out, but it's all over this time for Michel Jourdain Jr. And that's a great shame, because the young Mexican was driving a solid race here, kept out of trouble, and that's really what racing a 500 is all about. So the team would have been pleased with his performance, but whatever's put him out means the end of the day as Alex Zanardi continues on round. Just remember, by the way, when a car's a lap down here, it only means it's about 35 seconds behind. It's not that much. It sounds a lot, a lap down, but it's only 35 seconds behind. So Brian Hürter, a little bit more than that behind Alex Zanardi. He's about 40-45 seconds behind the race leader.
Yeah, he is, and he certainly isn't actually making any ground at this stage. He's probably 100 yards or so behind the car of Paul Tracy, just ahead of Gilles de Ferran. Gilles de Ferran himself is just under 9 seconds behind the race leader, Alex Zanardi. Gilles de Ferran, the last car on the lead lap, in 4th place. Hürter 1 lap down in 5th place, and then, as you say, Fangio there in 6th position, 4 laps down on the leaders.
Just a quick word for Arndt Meyer as well. In fact, this will move him up into the points, into a point scoring position now, because Michel Jourdain's out of it. Meyer's still running. He's a long way down. They've had a few problems, haven't they, Jeremy, this weekend? They haven't actually really done much running, financial restrictions and all that, but he's still there at the moment.
Yeah, if the race continues along this way, it'll be quite interesting, because we'll have Vitolo, Matsushita and Arndt Meyer all scoring points, and those 3 have not yet scored points this season. So we've already had 26 people score points. There'll be another 3 there. So it's certainly spreading the wealth, I'd say, in the PPG Kart World Series this year.
There's the position up to the fuel window, and Marc Blundell is going to creep into that fuel window slightly earlier than anybody else. As you can see, de Ferran is pretty well placed. It's quite a long way before he needs to stop. And this is all settled down now a little bit, not surprisingly, because those top 4 cars of Zanardi, Blundell, Tracy and de Ferran are now really just playing a waiting game. They're on lap number 195. There are 55 laps still to go, and they're now playing a waiting game just to sort of try and get in the right place at the right time to be able to play the game at the end of the race. That's what counts. The last few laps, as we've seen here in the past at Michigan, that's when the race is really going to be decided. You've just got to be there, that's the point. And there's only really 4 cars at the moment have got a chance of being there. To finish first you have to finish, and Alex Zanardi running very quickly indeed, 31.7 last time around. It's around about 227 miles an hour average speed. He's pulling away the last few laps at 2 or 3 tenths a lap from Marc Blundell in 2nd place. But as you say, there's still 54 laps to go, and that's that's still 100 miles. There's still plenty of time in this race. very similar times being recorded from both Zanardi and Blundell on the last lap. Just 18 thousandths of a second between them in terms of their lap time. 32.000 for Alex Zanardi. He's just running consistently around there at the moment. As you watch Gilles de Ferran running in 4th place. He's 12 seconds behind race leader Alex Zanardi. That's all, just 12 seconds. De Ferran, who felt they'd made some really worthwhile changes on this car in going towards the qualifying. He wasn't very happy with it on Friday, but much happier with it on Saturday. And just looking at the balance there, Jeremy, we've got 2 Firestone cars, 1st and 2nd, 2 Goodyear cars, 3rd and 4th. So those top 4 cars, we've got the good old split between the 2 tyre companies.
Yeah, and it's amazing, this year, I think we talked about it last weekend, in every race prior to last weekend in Toronto, both the tyre companies had led during the race at one stage or another. Firestone laid that to rest last weekend. They led every lap in Canada on the streets there. But again this afternoon, both Goodyear and Firestone had taken the turn in the lead. And there's not much to choose between these 2 companies in overall terms. Certainly Firestone has come out on top in terms of the number of race wins this season. But Goodyear, certainly going into this race, still led in a total number of laps led during the season. So really not a lot to choose between them. And this afternoon I have to say that the 2 tyre companies seem to be pretty closely matched in race conditions. Firestone had the advantage in qualifying, but there's not much, I think, to choose between them this afternoon in the race itself.
There are 48 laps to go. There are 48 laps to go here as Alex Zanardi continues to lead the US 500 from Mark Blundell by 4.6 seconds. Paul Tracy, the championship leader, is in 3rd place, and he's a further 9 seconds behind. Gilles de Ferran is just a second, just over a second behind Paul Tracy. That's a good little battle that's hotting up now between the Penske and the Walker Racing Reynard.
Yeah, and actually, in fact, Brian Herter is between those 2 as well, so a good little 3-car battle there, all running pretty good speeds. There's 3rd and 4th place there with Tracy and de Ferran, and Herter still running strongly in 5th place. That long pit stop cost him dearly, of course, but he's still running strongly, and it'll be a good result for him if he can get in the top 5.
Yes, it would. They've got to try and make sure that the car runs through to the finish. That's the main thing at the moment. It seems rather quiet out there at the moment, I have to say. There's sort of rather a lack of cars going around. We've got 12 cars still in this race out of the 28 that started. It is a notorious car breaker, this race, with the 500 miles the distance. Not quite as bad as it used to be, because it used to be much more bumpy than it is now, Jeremy.
Oh boy, it really took it out of the drivers here. When Nigel Mansell won here in 93, he was already in some discomfort from an injury he had sustained at Phoenix earlier in the season, but those bumps really took their toll on Nigel Mansell. And it's as much mental energy as anything else it takes out of you, but the bumps, it's physical as well. And that element perhaps has been taken away or alleviated to a great deal by the resurfacing here a couple of years ago. It's still a little bit ripply in parts. It's had some pretty tough winters up here in Michigan, but certainly the track is nothing like as much of a man breaker as it was a couple of years ago. It's still awfully hard on the machinery.
That's right. Nigel Mansell put it down as one of the greatest victories of his career, and in fact it was the most dominant victory here at Michigan, as Arndt Meyer is slowing down to the inside of the track there, and looks as though Meyer's got troubles with his car. The German driver, the German rookie, who hasn't competed in all of the races this year. They're struggling a bit for money to get to all of the races. Putting in a good performance today, stayed out of trouble, and that's not an easy thing to do on a track like this, but he now looks as though he's bound for the pits. Just coming back to Mansell's performance, he led some 222 of the 250 laps. It was a battle between him and Mario Andretti in the early stages, but after that Mansell took the lead and was never headed again all the way through the event. A remarkable performance that was, and a race that really saw remarkably few yellow flags on that occasion. It's been a rather different kind of race that we've seen today.
Oh, it has, hasn't it? High attrition here. Every time we look at the leader, he seems to have a problem, but touch wood, no problems yet for Alex Zanardi. There is Arndt Meyer in the pits. The Project Indy crew takes off the bonnet of that car, has a delve underneath, see what they can find. Back on board with Gilles de Ferran. He flashes past Hiro Matsushita, and another lap in the books for Gilles de Ferran. Still running there in 4th place. He's still got Paul Tracy in his sights, just a second or so in front of him, but you can hear him lifting there in the corners, and he's not able to run flat out. He's running conservatively still at this stage. There's still 44 laps to go, 42 laps to go now. Zanardi crosses the line there, 208 laps in the books. Mark Blundell, 4.9 seconds behind him.
You're just looking through that long list of retirements. A lot of them down to gearbox troubles, not all. We've seen a few accidents as well, and we've also seen one or two other different problems, some electrical problems, but mostly it's been transmission failures that have caused the difficulties for everybody. If we just take a look at the championship for a moment. Paul